What's going on, my people? What's going on, YouTube family? Welcome back to the Emperor Atheist channel with your host, Emperor Atheist. Today's topic is basically the cosmological argument trying to prove the existence of God. I'm gonna try to make this video as short as possible, and the reason why, like I said, I don't like to make my videos into lectures, but there's a lot of different videos, a lot of different links, academic links as far as on this particular argument. I'm going to explain the argument for those who probably never been introduced to this argument. The modern name for this argument, because of people like William Lane Craig, who's basically taken this argument, ancient argument, which was basically first invented or proposed by Thomas Aquinas of Italy, who was a Italian priest, Catholic priest, philosopher. He's noted as being one of the greatest philosophers of the Western world. But anyway, in today's modern world, William Lane Craig, who is basically a charlatan, I always say, but he has kind of reinvented this particular cosmological argument and calls it the Kalam Cosmological argument, that is supposedly prove this imaginary being that they call God. And I'm just going to give the premises of this argument. Then I'm gonna explain basically the differences, which are not really any difference between Thomas Aquinas' original cosmological argument and Kalam, or the argument that basically William Lane Craig has added to today. It's still a cosmological argument to trying to prove the existence of this God. Well, the premise is simple, and it's not really something that you need to hurt your brain over. And because a lot of people always say, man, these philosophical arguments for God, and I always have to point out to people, and this is the main thing that I keep explaining to people, even atheists, an argument, I don't care how good argument, and I always say this, and I've said this in my prior videos, I don't care how good an argument is. An argument in and of itself is not evidence, and it proves a damn thing. It doesn't prove anything. An argument is equal to a hypothesis, and I have to keep reiterating this because people think that arguments, maybe you win an argument, or whatever you consider to be winning an argument, on whose part, on whoever's part it is, doesn't mean that you actually brought evidence and proved your point. So all of these arguments you have the cosmological argument, you have the ontological, you have the tag argument or the teleological argument for God, you have the moral argument, and I just did that video for those who haven't seen that video, debunking the moral argument. And I'm not the only one who's done this. This has been done so many times, and I think we have to keep reiterating these things because these Christian apologists and Christian scholars, they continue to use these same redundant, dull arguments. So it's basically our job to keep debunking them, because no matter how many times William Lane Craig has been made a fool out of in the public eye, and how his arguments are circling, hasn't proven a damn thing, he still uses them, and other people use them. You know, his fan club uses them. So it's our job to keep them, since they keep them going and keep them up to date, then it's our job to keep the debunkings up to date. So basically, I'm gonna deal with the cosmological argument and the Kalam cosmological argument, which I say are the same, two and the same. Just one is just more modern. That's all. Whoa, hold up. I'm a paper flew. So it's not really like I said, it's not really a big deal or something, like I say, you know, you hurt your brain over, because it's not really that intellectual. It's philosophy, and I respect philosophy. I don't care. I love philosophy. I love philosophers, no matter what they believed. And I always put people in the perspective of their time frame. Me personally, I think a lot of people who lived, who maybe believed in a deity 300 or 400 years ago, but who was very intelligent, intellectual. I mean, even scientists. I mean, people like Isaac Newton and other scientists who still had the belief in the deity. I think in today's world they wouldn't be. I don't believe they would be theists in today's world because of our advancement. I mean, we've also regressed in certain ways too, but we've also, as far as technology and information and researching things, I think we've advanced a lot. And I think a lot of those intellectuals 300 or 400, 500 years ago, they definitely wouldn't be believing in this Christian stuff, or wouldn't be believing in a lot of the things that religion teaches, especially the Abrahamic religion. I just don't believe they would be into it. But to get right to the point, the first major three premises of this cosmological argument. Number one, everything, and this is the main thing, everything that begins to exist must have a cause. Okay, that's the first premise. They believe that this argument starts off that everything that begins to exist, or that begun to exist, or whatever, had a cause. Something caused it to exist. And second premise is that, well, the universe began to exist. Second premise. Third premise is, if the universe has a cause, then that cause must be God. Okay? Fifth premise, therefore God exists. Now, I just broke these premises down. I gave it 5 premises. But the basic 3 premises are, everything begins to exist, the universe begins to exist, therefore the universe has a cause. But this is the issue, and I'm basically mixing both arguments. The original cosmological argument up with William Lane Craig's more popular modern argument today, which is Kalam Cosmological argument. But this is the trick to this whole thing. In the first premise of both arguments, everything begins to exist must have a cause. The thing that they do, though, they don't include their God into this cause. Now, and the reason they don't do this, they make this God an uncaused cause. And they have to do this. This is the only way the argument is going to even make sense. They have to make their God, their personal God, by the way, whether their Christian God, Islamic God, whatever God, they have to make the God that they believe in this uncaused cause. Meaning, what I mean by this uncaused cause is that God didn't begin to exist, never. He was just here. And this is where the argument goes straight to hell, and you just throw it in the trash. Because first and foremost, the thing about it, in the first premise, when you say everything begins to exist as a cause, why do you not, and I'm talking to you Christian apologists and scholars and those who believe this stuff, why do you not negate God within the everything? If everything begins to exist had a cause, then what makes God not having a cause? Where did God come from? Why is it not a good question for us to say, if everything had a cause in the beginning, if everything that began to exist had a cause, then what caused God to exist? But this is where the bullshit comes in at. The Christian apologists and scholars who weave this argument and try to use this argument to try to make sense of the existence of some deity that they want to believe in, this personal God of the Bible. They say that, well, God was not into everything. God was an uncaused cause. And some of you, I'm sure you're familiar with these different things, the unmovable mover. In other words, God was just here. This is something that they can't explain. Of course, there's no evidence. So we're just going to deal with arguments. We've already established from the beginning of this video, no evidence has ever been given for this damn imaginary God. So the argument in and of itself is just an argument. It's just an hypothesis. But we're going to tackle these hypotheses, and we're going to show you how much sense even the hypothesis doesn't make. It's a weak hypothesis. It's a weak argument. So the thing that I'm saying is, they can never answer the question. And this is the question you need to ask these people when they come to you with these arguments, and you need to recognize these arguments, whether it's the moral argument of God, dealing with objective morality and objective moral views, or is this the universe? The first thing they come tell you, well, the moon and the stars and the universe is here, so how did it get here? And this is the thing about it. When they ask me that, I totally agree with the theists and the Christian apologists when they say that the universe began to exist. Yes, I believe. Do I believe that the universe had a cause? Yes, I do. Well, that cause must be God. No, hell, it doesn't have to be God. And see, this is the thing. As an atheist and as a student of science, we don't have to know everything. See, that's the thing. That's the thing about it. As far as the Big Bang, we do have much evidence for the Big Bang, and the theory, the model that we have, the theoretical model that we have for the Big Bang makes more sense than anything else out there as far as how our universe came to be about. It makes more sense than anything. Now, you asked the question, well, what caused it? What caused it? There's a lot of different answers, a lot of different theories of what caused the Big Bang, or what was before the Big Bang. This is what a lot of people will ask. Well, Emperor Atheist, what do you think was here before the Big Bang? Well, as far as I know, I don't know. I have no idea what was here before the Big Bang. I do know this, through proven scientific testing and hundreds of years of evidence and scientific proof, energy, we have no history of energy beginning. So was energy here before the Big Bang? And radiation, I'm sure it was. Where did energy and radiation come from? I have no idea. Did energy and radiation have a cause? I don't know. We don't know. No scientist can tell you that. But this is the big hole for believers and Christians. They say, they don't need to speak about energy or radiation. Of course they can't go that far. But they say that God, just put it into their argument, create it into their argument. They say that God was not caused to exist. So in other words, he never began to exist, or it never began to exist. Now, can they prove this? No, they can't. So does the argument equal to anything? No, it doesn't. And see, this is the thing about it. You just make it plain and simple. The argument is standing on its own is straight bullshit. So in hindsight, I could say the same thing when using this premise, and I want y'all to follow me on this. If I say everything that begins to exist, this is the cosmological or Kalam Cosmological argument. Everything that begins to exist has a cause, right? The universe began to exist. Therefore, the universe has a cause, right? This is the argument bundled up. So that third premise, which I took early in this video, I gave it 5 premises, but I'm just going to deal with the 3. So in other words, the universe began to exist, therefore it has a cause. The universe exists. Okay, the cause. So what is that cause? Basically, they're saying that the universe, everything that begins to exist, had a cause. So what was that cause? They're saying that cause is God. Okay, they have no way of proving that. So my example of this, and I'm going to give a small earthly example, as I say, terrestrial example. I can easily say that. Let me come up with something. Okay, I got it. Everything in Walmart has a price, right? Everything in Walmart has a price. Okay, but electricity is not included in those things that has a price in Walmart. Okay, that's my second premise. The third premise, therefore, electricity has no price. Therefore, I don't have to pay my light bills. Same example. If you're saying that everything in the universe, right? Everything in the universe has a cause. The universe began to exist, so it has a cause. So that cause must be God. I can say the same thing about electricity. I don't have to pay my light bill because this light bill is not within the sale markets or products of Walmart. So therefore, I don't have to pay my light bill because Walmart don't sell electricity. So what do I need to pay it for? It's just a basic dodo bird thinking that you Christian apologists weave into these rhetorical circular arguments. There's no way that you can just place God, because first of all, we have no knowledge of this God. So you're going to automatically make God this, as I said before, this uncaused cause. Where did you even get the premise or the foundation to even make God an uncaused cause? Where? From your Bible? That won't work. We can't use your Bible. Your Bible doesn't make God an uncaused cause. It doesn't explain where God came from. So this is the bullshit holes that these Christian apologists use and they try to weave. And I want y'all to go back and actually just look at the cosmological argument. And basically, a lot of you probably going to laugh at it. If you're not familiar with it, you're going to basically laugh at it. You're going to see how stupid it is. And you're going to see how the argument had to be crafted by Christians in order for it to work. In other words, they had to make God. They just had to throw God in there. There's no parameters of how God got into the argument or how he got into the equation. You know, in math, all equations are explained. You know, in algebra and calculus and trig, everything is explained. How equations, how things work, how linear things work, how things go. This side of the equation must be equal to this side of the equation. All of these things are explained in geometry and algebra. But with these particular philosophical arguments, anything goes. There's no cohesiveness to the argument. It's just God. I just throw God in. I say, well, everything begins to exist. Everything that begins to exist has a cause. We agree with that. Okay, well, we can say that. But then, you know what? Even on a certain level, we don't even know that. And I'm going to tell you why we really don't know that. And I was going to try not to get too far into this. But even on the first premise, when we say that everything begins to exist has a cause, well, honestly, we really don't know that, and I'm gonna tell you why we don't know that. Because even when you deal with when you get over into quantum theory and quantum physics, even deal with multiverses. We really don't know if everything that exists actually had a cause. And even going back to my basic example of energy and radiation, we don't really know if everything that exists has a cause. You know what I mean? We don't know that. So for them to just take this God, their personal God, by the way, and just throw this shit in the fire and say, yeah, everything that begins to exist has a cause. The universe exists, therefore God is the cause of the universe. And I'm basically just, that's what the argument is saying. It's basically bullshit. It's just straight bullshit. And we shouldn't accept these particular arguments for nothing. Occam's razor, you know, when you're dealing with philosophy, Occam's razor basically says that, and the reason I'm bringing up Occam's razor because it's what we call a special pleading for these Christian apologists and scholars, and they know this. People like William Lane Craig smart enough know this, and they know they really don't have a fucking leg to stand on. But they know this is what we call a special pleading, when you're just going to make something and place it into your equation, to a fucked up equation, and just make God this uncaused cause. And what I mean by the special pleading, because you're forcing or you're making something work for your argument to work, in other words. But Occam's razor basically says that if we're dealing with this argument and we're dealing with Occam's razor is basically saying that we must use the lesser amount of answers as possible. In other words, if I'm dealing with this cosmological argument and I say that everything begins to exist must have a cause, right? And the universe begins to exist, therefore there's a cause. If I go on to say when God must be the cause, then what I'm doing, I'm throwing in an extra step. There's no need for me to put in this extra step according to Occam's razor. In other words, the simplest or less answers possible is the best answers. So it's basically the whole argument of the cosmological argument is basically, it's a big fallacy. It's a major fallacy. It goes against logic. It goes against everything, but it won't go against those who believe, because they need anything they can to hold on to this bullshit Jesus and this bullshit Noah stories and these bullshit zombie stories, people coming up out the graves and talking to people, and we have no fucking historicity of bullshit like this. But this is just something that I think a lot of atheists and agnostics and those who debate with these people who believe this nonsense, y'all just need to be up on these arguments and basically just see all the holes in them. It's not hard to actually just see the holes in these arguments. So, you know, if you actually want to start a street epistemology with these people, you talk to them on the street, and like I do a lot, I just haven't started filming mine. I've had some hilarious ones, man, and I've actually convinced a lot of people too. But it's not really my thing to try to convince people to be atheists or to be non-theists. It's just I just feel like it's my place to just make people think, you know, just to give people another view. You know, whether you stay religious or not, it's not really my business, man. But I do look forward. I would hope that the human race would advance more in the future, and that we would think more and use more reason, logic, and rationale. And I think religion hinders us. I think it hurts our education to a certain point of view. Politics, you got all these religious zombies in politics that don't believe in certain things that can actually affect the world. As far as dealing with scientific matters, I mean, it's just an ugly thing. You know, you got dummies, you know, people like Ben Carson who believe the pyramids were built just to store fucking corn and shit like that. You got dumb motherfuckers in high places. It could be that is basically affected by archaic biblical beliefs and bullshit like that. Even the vice president, Mike Pence. I mean, these are dumb people. These are real dumb people that basically they're emotional and they live off their religious convictions, and that is real dangerous. That's super dangerous. You know, that you can have people like that can make certain decisions, you know, that could affect us in a lot of different ways, economically, all type of ways. You know, it could affect us. It could affect our children in school. You know what I mean? So it's important for us to continue to fight the bullshit, to fight religious bullying. It's very important, man. I want to say shout out, man, to all my viewers, all my likes, all my dislikes, those who troll my pages. Good for you. You know, good for you. Keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep crushing you and bringing the information. And shout out to all the black atheists, man, who who ain't afraid to stand up now, because we're a real small minority. Big ups to those who are coming out, who are questioning this bullshit religion, and just keep doing it, man. Keep doing it. Don't be afraid to talk to your family. You know, you ain't got to get no big arguments with them, but you know, just keep doing it. And shout out to everybody, all the atheists and agnostics, and those who not scared to think for yourself and to, you know, be outside of the fucking circle of dominism, of dodo birds and religitards and, you know, things of that nature. So like I said, man, thanks for watching my videos. Peace out. Remember, atheists.